Good morning. Welcome to day 13, Saturday morning. Don't know why, but these ones feel easier for me to get up for than the Monday to Friday. Morning. Morning everyone, I see you all joining. How is everyone today? I purposely put music on this morning to try and get me in a good mood. I think it's worked. Feeling like I'm in a good mood for a Saturday anyway. So you might have seen the story that I put up last night. I thought today would be a very good time, now that we've introduced quite a few of the poses that are within it, to introduce Sun Salutations. We'll begin standing today, and you'll see why in a second. But Sun Salutations, so in Sanskrit, which is the language that yoga is traditionally taught and practiced in, they're called Surya Namaskar, and that quite literally means, Surya means sun, and Namaskar means kind of to bow down to, or to kind of have gratitude for. And traditionally, they were used by Hindus in morning prayers and in worship. And it is quite literally we're saluting the sun as it comes up in the morning. Yoga was traditionally practiced in the morning, so we're all good here. And they're usually at the beginning of a yoga flow. So if you go to a yoga class at a studio, you'll usually see them at the beginning of a flow. They're kind of used as a bit of a warm-up, some people call them, and they engage and they stretch the entire body. So it's a good way of waking everything up and preparing the body for maybe some of the more intense poses that happen throughout different practices. And I mean, if they're practiced at pace, if you get a really good pace on, they can be some pretty good cardio. If you go to a vinyasa flow class or hot yoga or power yoga classes, you'll do a good few rounds of them. There's 3 sequences, A, B and C. You tend to see A and B quite often, very rarely see C, and today we're going to go through A. B has a little bit extra in it, and I think we'll probably move on to that one next. But yeah, I mean, there's been all sorts of studies and stuff done around Sun Salutations. There's one in particular where they did Sun Salutations every day for 2 weeks, and the results were that people felt more relaxed, calmer, more of a sense of joy. I mean, see what you think. So today we're just going to go through one round. We're going to go through one full round of Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskar A. And you'll notice, I mean, maybe on reflection you'll notice, you'll probably be in your headspace as we practice and go through it, but you'll hopefully notice at some point it's like a mirror. So we kind of move into it and then we'll come out of it the same way that we go in. We have been doing a little bit of that in our classes anyway. I have been loosely basing it on a Sun Salutation, but I thought today let's go for it. Let's do the one that kind of most people will know, most people will have seen, and if you're starting to enjoy yoga and want to go to a class, you'll almost definitely see this in the studios that you might go to. So we're going to begin standing. Find that mountain pose, Tadasana. Just ground through the feet. Maybe rocking forwards and backwards, left and right, just to feel the earth beneath you. And as we did before, just kind of find a spot out in front of you that's not going to move. Sometimes called a drishti. And you can focus on that spot just to keep your balance. And just begin to invite that stillness Start noticing what's around you, and maybe introducing those longer inhales and exhales. Keep in hold of that breath. If you're not already, let's just meet at the top of the mat in mountain pose still. Feet can be hip distance apart. As you inhale, you're going to take the arms up overhead. Follow with your gaze, looking up at the thumbs. And then as you exhale, bringing the arms all the way down, finding that forward fold. Bending the knees really generously here. Think about belly onto your thighs. Really nice. As you inhale, come into halfway lift, flat back position. Hands can be on the shins, don't forget. Wherever they are, just try and tuck those elbows in as the shoulder blades come to touch in the back. And then as you exhale, we're just going to plant the hands down on the mat. And you may have heard of a pose called Chaturanga. We're not going to go through Chaturanga today, but the basis for it is a plank pose. So if that feels comfortable for you, we're just going to step into a plank pose only for a second. So step in maybe the left foot back first, followed by the right, and then we're just going to bring the knees down onto the mat. See how that feels. Other options to get down here are absolutely valid, just finding your own way to bring yourself down onto the mat. Today we're going to feel into upward facing dog. So we've done Sphinx, it's a little bit similar to Sphinx. You're going to bring your hands in close to your body, in towards the rib cage. Think about lining them up with where your shoulders are. So they'll be underneath your shoulders when we move. And then as we inhale, we're going to press into the tops of the feet, or they can be tucked. Again, whichever one feels most comfortable. Press into the tops of the feet, press into the hands as you straighten through the arms, finding a gentle back bend here, only going to where feels best for you. Find your own level of comfort here. Opening through the chest, finding a back bend, maybe gazing up. Remembering that breath, remembering to breathe here. Coming out of the pose if anything doesn't feel good. And then as you exhale, bending the elbows, coming all the way back down. Tucking the toes now if they're not already. We're going to move through into our downward facing dog from here. So tuck the toes, press through the hands, and as you do, really think about sending those hips up towards the ceiling. Again, we'll just be here for a second. Moving into your downward facing dog stance here, gazing either between the toes, maybe towards the belly button. Taking another round of breath. And then we're just going to take baby steps towards the top of the mat. We'll meet here in forward fold. So nice, generous bend in the knees. Belly on top of thighs. And then inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Think about balancing something on your back whilst you gaze down. Exhaling, hands come down. And then on your next big inhale, everything's going to come all the way up as we stand. Arms reach up and over. Maybe a slight back bend as you gaze up. As you exhale, bring the palms together through heart center. Maybe down at your sides. And we're back where we started in mountain pose. So hopefully you can potentially see how it is a mirror. So you start with that kind of the forward folds, the halfway lifts, you move into that plank, and latterly we will explore Chaturanga pose. As you then come down onto the belly, upward facing dog, feeling that back bend, which is a nice opportunity for you to take that as far as you'd like to. Moving through downward facing dog, and then coming all the way back up the same way as we came in with halfway lifts, forward folds, and back all the way up to standing in mountain pose. Let's just come back down to the mat, find a nice comfortable seat. I trust you've found your own favourite position for this part. You're welcome to find Shavasana here, or anything that feels good to you for a relax, to just bring everything back down. Maybe closing down the eyes. Letting go of that deep inhale and deep exhale that you may have had throughout that practice. Just letting the breath return to normal. And I'll leave you here, but remembering you can stay here as long as you like. Grant yourself that permission. Acknowledge showing up again for yourself today. You've passed Quitter's Day. Coming up to that halfway point. So just take as long as you need here and enjoy as you move into your day. Thank you guys, I will see you tomorrow. We will likely bring it back down again like we did last week and probably have some kind of meditation, or I may do a little bit of breath work tomorrow. So hopefully see some of you then, and thank you so much for joining today.